Avatar, of which there are so many in India.
Yes, we're live now. Just FYI. So I think this would be better.
Yes, but the Lord Chaitanya is actually the Yuga Avatar, which takes as you just being a Yuga Avatar, unless the Hindus want to dispute that he's a Yuga Avatar. Yuga Avatar means that just as Krishna was the Yuga Avatar of the last Yuga, Lord Chaitanya is the Yuga Avatar of the 10,000 years of this Yuga, right?
Right. I mean, forget the Yuga Avatar and this and that. I mean, they can't even understand, who is a bona fide guru,
Because they don't understand who is the Yuga Avatar.
Many of these people
forget Yuga Avatar. If you say that Lord Chaitanya came here and erased all religion, particularly Hindu religion, because Hindu is related to the Vedic culture, and therefore erasing Hinduism created an atmosphere in which the only way to make advancement is via chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why Yuga Avatar is vital.
Today I was...
If they can't accept Lord Chaitanya's Yuga Avatar, then they're not going to accept anything.
Well, today I was listening to a lecture, not listening, but I was reading a transcript of Srila Prabhupada's lecture. And then Prabhupada was saying in India, everyone has heard about the Hare Krishna mantra. But have they heard about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? That is the next question. They say, oh, yes, we've been chanting that since we were a kid. So that is not,
But they're not chanting because of Lord Chaitanya. The Hare Krishna mantra existed before Lord Chaitanya.
Yes.
She can smell the bacon.
Hey, no bacon here, buddy.
Nobody. Dog treats.
Bacon, did someone say?
The dog treats.
The dog goes to bacon heaven, and you also go to bacon heaven.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's the dog treats.
Well, the dogs, if you feed a dog an animal, you're responsible for the death of the animal. It's not that the dog is responsible, because if you turn the dog out, then the dog is responsible, but the dog turned out into the street, if you turn the dog into the street, then the dog does not incur karma by killing or eating dead flesh.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Narayan Prabhu. These people that are keeping dogs inside their homes, that is very, very inauspicious and also very bad karmically, because you have to buy them the food, you have to do this, do that, and then
essentially spending more hours of the day serving the dog than performing religious activity.
Right.
Or spiritual activity.
Yeah.
I mean, if you chant 16 rounds, it's an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then if you offer your food, prepare food stuff and offer it to your deity, that takes more time. And if you do that more than once a day, it takes more time. But with the dog, you have to be interacting at all times.
The dog might even come lick the food.
Yeah. I just ran across a big section of Christianity where all the Jews, the prophets, Jesus, and everybody were condemning dogs as being unworthy for human association.
Association meaning, in a sense,
that you don't keep a dog. You don't have a dog as a pet. They looked at the dogs as being enemies of humanity. Because they come and they will eat dead people. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Remember, if the dogs are stray dogs and not being kept in somebody's house, they will eat whatever there is to eat. So if there's a corpse lying in the street, they'll eat it.
Right. Okay. Okay, let's go back to the point of the Hindus and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and them having a hard time understanding Krishna consciousness or the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu philosophy.
So the question is, if they can accept Krishna in Dwapara Yuga, and they do, they have deities, they read the Srimad Bhagavatam, they read the Bhagavad Gita, they read the Mahabharata, and Krishna is mentioned all over the place in that scripture, they have to now come to the point of recognizing that Lord Chaitanya came here as Radha and Krishna as the Yuga Avatar, and that the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is thrown wildly out into the public. Broke open the storehouse of love of God means there's no longer restriction on who can chant. There's restrictions on who can take initiation, but there's no restriction on who can chant.
So let me ask you a question. Them chanting Hare Krishna before knowing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then they come in contact with the Krishna consciousness movement and they learn about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then they chant. Is there a difference in the chanting, or is there more understanding here now?
Well, it depends, you know. I mean, Prabhupada, I think it was written by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. It seems more like his style than Prabhupada's. The chanting should be heard from the lips of a pure devotee of the Lord for full effect to be achieved. Chanting from the lips of non-devotees should be avoided as much as milk touched by the lips of a serpent has poisonous effect.
So next,
if the Hindus heard from some non-pure devotee source, now if they were taught as children to chant Hare Krishna as part of a Hindu ritual or Hindu practice, that is milk touched by the lips of a serpent, probably.
Right.
Unless that's a very pure Vaishnava source. But when they hear Prabhupada chanting, now they've been given the real thing, even if it's from the mouth of one of Prabhupada's Malacha disciples. Right?
Yes. Right.
So when one of Prabhupada's Malacha disciples chants, that's as good as Prabhupada chanting, and that's as good, which is in and of itself as good as Lord Chaitanya chanting. Because the Sampradaya exists to transfer. It's not just this guru begat that guru. It's not like, you know, we look at it like my son is a guru and my grandson will be guru and my great-grandson. That's specifically not allowed. Otherwise, Bhaktisiddhanta could have taken initiation from his own father. No, it's not a blood lineage. It's a spiritual lineage, and it was created by Diksha in the Sampradaya, not just Diksha somewhere else, wherever you are. So if you have Bhaktisiddhanta, Sampradaya, you have Prabhupada, Sampradaya. People are hearing from Prabhupada, that is hearing from the Sampradaya. Now you might say, well, what happens next? What happens next is that you can hear from Prabhupada through his books, through his records, through his disciples.
Right.
And that is the Sampradaya. You don't have to hear, that is the lips of the pure devotee, if it is chanted as the pure devotee chanted, and there's no reason not to, because we have the recordings of Prabhupada chanting. Why would anyone go out of their way to chant differently than than Prabhupada, who is directly representing the Yuga Avatar?
Hindus don't have an understanding about what is a bona fide spiritual master. Also, you know, they think anyone wearing saffron or someone giving a class or talk, they're automatically some elevated soul. They don't inquire more than that, or they're not sufficiently educated, or they're miseducated.
That's why the League for 10K is the means of creating that distinction.
And anyone who's watching this online on Facebook and YouTube, they are welcome to participate and ask relevant questions according to their understanding, and then take it from there. Take off like a jet plane.
Yes.
From that angle.
Because the Vishwanath Chakravarti, let's say, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaur Krishna Das Babaji, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Srila Prabhupada, it's not that they have to have after Prabhupada, there does not have to be an unbroken line, for the very simple reason is he said, I will never die. I will live here through my books, right?
Yes.
Through books or instructions, or both?
From my books, and you will utilize.
Yes. Jai Prabhu. Yes. So if you live through his books are different than the other books written by other acharyas. Thakur Bhaktivinoda's books were designed to take away the confusion surrounding the rather shattered descendancy from Lord Nityananda and Lord, because remember, when Thakur Bhaktivinoda was here, it was just a couple of hundred years after Lord Chaitanya disappeared, right?
Right.
And Vishwanath Chakravarti was there, or it's almost there. The point is conveying the truth down to the present moment, which the present moment turned out to be Prabhupada leaving India for America on the Jaladuta.
Jai.
So he brought the Lord Chaitanya. If you say the holy name of Krishna is just a mantra that Hindus all know, then you're screwed. You've finished yourself off. You don't have a pathway forward. But if you understand that the Maha Mantra as chanted by Prabhupada was received through disciplic succession, very short disciplic succession, not going back to Brahma. You see, because our disciplic succession doesn't go back to Lord Nityananda in Krishna Loka, the way the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, our Gaudiya, in the Bhagavad Gita, and you look into the Sampradaya, it goes all the way back to Lord Balaram, right? If you look at the Sampradaya as put in Prabhupada's books, it goes all the way back to Balaram for thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
What do you mean, Balaram? There's Krishna there also. I don't think Balaram is mentioned in the introduction of the Bhagavad Gita. Let me check. Go ahead, continue, Anand Prabhu. I'll try to look it up.
Baladev or Balaram is the first spiritual master and is the head of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya.
Oh, yes.
So
you're talking in that context. Okay, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That context. So
right.
This is a very important distinction, because if you're going back all the way to the Madhava Sampradaya to Lord Balaram, that's the way the jiva goes back to Godhead. Prabhupada said we should imagine we're being dragged up through the Sampradaya, but Prabhupada didn't say by Balaram, he said by Lord Nityananda. And Lord Nityananda is Balaram, or is he not?
Okay, yes.
Okay, so Lord Balaram, in the form of Lord Nityananda, is just a few hundred years ago. So the whole Sampradaya, from our point of view, as followers of Lord Chaitanya, is just a few hundred years old.
Okay, I'm loading up the disciplic succession right now.
Yeah, we can say that the Sampradaya goes all the way back to Gaudiya Madhava Vaishnava Sampradaya, and it does. And the jivas go back that way to Krishna Loka. But in the present state, our guru is 500 years old, Lord Nityananda.
Yes.
Therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is sort of midway.
Yes, right here. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is right here. Yes.
See, what did Lord Chaitanya appear? What was his appearance?
1486, I think.
1486. Okay.
Yeah.
And what year did Bhaktivinoda Thakur appear?
That's a good question.
18, 17, 18, 17 something?
I can look it up. 1 second. Go ahead. You can converse. I will look it up.
Yeah, okay. So, because he was responsible for the transcendentalists in America being able to read the Bhagavad Gita.
1838.
1838. Jai Mohit Prabhu.
Jai Hare Krishna. Jai.
What did he say?
1838.
1838. Yeah.
1838.
Jai.
Okay. So in 1838, so Lord Chaitanya appeared how many years before Thakur Bhaktivinoda?
Mohit Prabhu, your question is here. 14, what is it? 80.
400 years. Some 450 years approx.
Okay, I'm doing the exact math right now. It's going to be
14
about 352 years.
352. Okay.
Okay, 14, what was that, 58?
1858.
1858 is Bhaktivinoda.
Bhaktivinoda? Yes.
And Lord Chaitanya was
1486.
So that's 6
300.
years
352 years. I mean, not 352 years. Yes, 352 years. Yes.
300, how many?
352.
Okay. So 352
Got it.
years after Lord Chaitanya, Thakur Bhaktivinoda came to sort out the problems that had arisen in the. Remember, Lord Chaitanya didn't lead he had a much more complicated situation than simple guru-disciple sampradaya, because there were all those associates from Krishna Loka with him also that appeared
Yes.
at his time.
Yes.
How long did
Yes.
Lord Chaitanya remain on the planet?
What is it? 40 something years?
How many?
No, more than that. More than that, bro.
48 years?
More. Let me check. Yeah, I didn't
Okay.
know.
Mohit Prabhu is doing the research.
Mahaprabhu? Who?
Not Mahaprabhu.
Mohi.
Mohit Prabhu.
Mohi. Yeah, I thought so.
Hmm.
Okay. 14th June 1534. So this is when he died, and he was born in 1486. So
1486 minus what?
minus 1534. 1534. Yeah.
48 years. Yeah, I guess right. Haripal.
Ball, Jai. I thought it's more than that.
He lived for 52 years.
Yeah.
Right?
52 years.
52 years.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so 52 years before, add that, and to subtract that from the space before Thakur Bhaktivinoda was born in 1858.
Okay.
And that essentially makes Lord Chaitanya about 300 years roughly before Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
Yes.
So now let's be realistic. 300 years is about the same time as the American Revolution for us, and for me in America, right?
Yes.
So whatever happened in 1776, in 2000, well, no, it's we're in 2021, so it's
1776.
yeah, so it's a shorter period of time than the distance between Chaitanya's disappearance and Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance.
Yes.
But let's only try to condense it down into our current sense of historical timing, which is that it's not a very long time, at least if we compare it to Krishna 5,000 years ago,
Right.
and us today.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so this is we need to create that sense of spatial distinction.
What do you mean? Spatial distinction now?
Well, like, I don't know how far back you can trace your ancestors, but I can trace my ancestors back to the times of shortly after about the same time as Lord Chaitanya's appearance.
Okay.
I can't trace them all by name, but I know the history of the Puritans, and they went back that far.
Okay.
You know, they came over shortly
Okay.
after the Mayflower.
Okay. So
So we're dealing with something which you and I can consider to be tangibly recent history. That's what I'm really trying to get to. Lord
Okay.
Chaitanya is not ancient history. It's not like Moses. It's not like Jesus.
Right,
It's not
right.
like anything that's
Yes.
thousands of years.
Yes.
Fairly recent history. Now, compared to the Vedic culture, ended 5,000 years ago, and yet it continued on until somehow or other the Mughals overpowered the Vaishnava or the Vedic kings in this Yuga.
So
Now, do we know what year did the Mughals invade India? Do we know that?
okay.
13th century.
Does it mean 1200?
No, Rupa Manjari said 13th century.
Well, 13th century means
800 years.
800 years?
Yeah.
Well, Mohit, do you have it?
Vinayak Prabhu said about 800 years when the Mughals were.
After Lord Krishna came, after left the planet?
No, 800 years ago from now. Like it
20.
was.
800 years ago, the Mughals came.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was the end of Lodhi dynasty and the Babur invaded, and it was around 1350 around, so mid 14th century maybe.
Okay.
Got it. So now, mid 14th century, wait, does that
Yes, sir.
work out right?
Yes. Yes.
800 years in relation.
Yeah,
exactly.
So how
These guys are
long
exact. Yeah.
after the
These guys are
Mughals?
correct.
How long after the Mughals invaded the Lord Chaitanya manifest?
It was like maybe before 100 years or so before Lord Chaitanya. So not exact because Akbar
This is an
was.
approx, but it's yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Approx is,
Akbar
yeah.
was during Rup Goswami's time, and his
Yeah.
grandfather was Babur. He was the first
Sure.
Mughal who invaded India. So maybe
But
100.
Babar, he was Mughal or he was Buddhist?
Yeah, Babur was a
Baba
Mughal.
was Mughal, yeah.
Yeah,
First
he was
Mughal, yeah.
grandfather of Akbar, who donated red sandstone for Radha Govind temple in Vrindavana. So he was
Right.
grandfather of Akbar.
Hari Bol, that I didn't knew. Hari Bol. He did this for Radha Govind.
Yeah.
Hari
But
Bol.
Radha
Yeah.
Govinda temple was created after the Mughals came in by far, because it was after Lord Chaitanya's time that the Radha Govinda temple was made,
Uh,
because it was made by Rupa Goswami.
yeah, and that was the same time Akbar was also there.
So that
Like,
was after Lord Chaitanya.
yeah, maybe after Lord Chaitanya. Akbar was great grandson of the first Mughal, that was Babur. So Akbar
Well,
existed during
that's
the
a little
time of
confusing, because it sounds as though Lord Chaitanya appeared before the Muslims invaded India, but I don't think that's so, is it?
No,
It was
no, no.
already, the Mughals were already well established.
Well,
Bro, it
Mughal,
may be a difference of around 10 to 15 years, right? Most probably more 10 years of difference. That's not much of a difference, yeah.
Okay.
Only a
800
10.
years. 800 years back from the current year is 1221.
uh,
No, we are not
and
talking about
Mughals
that.
were not the first Muslims to invade India. Before Mughals, there were Tughlaqs, Lodhis, and before Lodhis, there were, I think,
I mean, when Mughals came, it would be around 10 years approximately when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born and all. So that would be approx this only. Yeah, which
There
I
was
can
that,
guess.
Lord Chaitanya came that soon after the Mughals came in?
Mughals were not the first Muslims to invade India. Before
Oh,
Mughals,
okay.
there
Well,
were already
I
Muslim
should not say
rulers.
Mughals then. Who were the first Muslims?
They were Afghans, I think. Afghans, Tughlaqs, or
But
Lodhis.
put it this way,
Yeah.
I guess my question is off track. I should be
Yeah.
asking this question.
Hmm.
Who were the first invaders of India that were able to shove aside or defeat the Vedic kings?
Alexander.
The Romans.
The
Alexander the
Romans?
Great.
Alexander the Great predates the Romans, no?
I think we might get caught in a net here. So let's fast forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have to do, but it would be nice for the League for 10K if we have this all. Is somebody, would you like, Mohit, would you like to do a little research and try to
Sure, bro.
establish?
Sure, bro. Just drop me off
Yeah.
anything.
We're
I'll
talking about
surely do it.
5,000 years
Okay.
to now
Okay.
at the end of the Dwapara Yuga.
Yeah, during the time.
How many steps, how many kings were there after Yudhisthira, emperors were there after Yudhisthira, Maharaj
Okay.
Yudhisthira? How many were there before outside invaders had the power to defeat the Indian kings?
Indian kings. I don't know if it's a politically correct word. Indian kings, Vedic kings, or
Maharajas.
Yeah, Maharajas, exactly.
Yeah.
Indian kings, well, I say Indian because Vedic really ended 5,000 years ago, no?
Janmad, the Parikshit Maharaj and his.
Your voice is not loud, Vinayak Prabhu. Get closer to the
Parikshit-
microphone.
I think Parikshit Maharaj, his great grandsons, they were all Vaishnava kings till Vajranabh.
But Prabhu's question is like, how many emperors? Right, bro? I also got your point, Vinayak, bro. He's asking
Okay.
how many
And
emperors
they ruled-
after Yudhishthira came
They ruled.
Right.
They ruled until when?
till the British rule. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe on internet we may find something.
That would be
But
good.
we have to research on this. That's not.
Would you like
fine
to
if
do that, or would you like to collaborate, the two of you, to do that and come up with
Sure,
that? Because
we'll
that
do.
should be
We'll
a
do it
major
the next
part.
time. We'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There is
yeah,
a
But the main thing we
development
want it
of-
for is for the website. We're going to
Yeah.
start making the website. That should be there in the website from the time of the Rajasuya sacrifice till the end of the India being controlled only by Vedic kings. Now it's always possible for someone to invade and put up a colony or something of that sort, you know. Hannibal did all that. I think Hannibal related with the Alexander?
I think we're getting
came
a
up-
little too carried away. Let's come to the point now. We're wasting a lot of time. I think
Okay,
we got the
well-
point that we need to find the exact dates, and devotees know that.
Yeah, we need the dates.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we get the dates, we need to find out the date when India ceased to be a sovereign nation under the Vedic kings.
Okay.
Okay?
Got it.
And from that point to now, we want to have a breakdown of all the things that happened.
Okay.
And who invaded after that. And then apparently the Mughals were not the first ones. Okay, next one, I'm very ignorant. Actually, there is a book by a historian named Dalrymple, of all things, and it's called British Muslims or something to that effect. How the British, when they got there, were converted into Islam because they liked it better than British Christianity. It became quite a problem for the British because they were losing their top managers to sitting there wearing robes in a palace with what's it called, a zenana? I think zenana, isn't it called zenana? The harem full of ladies. They liked it. The part they didn't like was being circumcised as adults. But it was worth it to them to convert to Islam. So anyhow, somehow down through that structure, Lord Chaitanya appeared 500 years ago. And I think we can agree, at least tentatively, that the Islam had become fairly well established in India by 500 years ago. Is that correct?
More or less, yes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, there were Muslims there, yes.
Yeah,
Well,
Prabhupada-
wasn't the country pretty much run by Muslims?
Yes, they were.
Were there very many Vedic kings in charge of anything?
yeah. Prabhupada was mentioning that once. I heard in a conversation that all these Muslim rulers, they were ruling, although they captured the areas, but all of their ministers, their army commanders, they were the Hindu kings. And it was more of a republic kind of government system under Muslim rulers, in which small Hindu kingdoms, which were ruled by Vedic kings, were captured by Mughals, and those kings were remained as kings of those small kingdoms, but they were more of kind of governors or mayors of those territories which came under Muslim rule. So practically most of the things,
Under the authority of the
yeah,
Muslim
yeah. So there used to
empire.
be different treaties in that, like whatever the tax collection would be there, certain percent of it would reach to the Muslim government, and rest of it would be retained by the Hindu king over that small territory.
So that
So
they
this
could
is how,
manage the citizens of their own kingdom.
yeah,
Yeah, that went on until the independence, actually, because the British honored the kingdoms
19
also. They were used to it from their own history in England of having emperors from another country running the local kings that had been there for hundreds of years before. And they were used to it. It was only after the independence that the kingdoms were destroyed.
yeah.
And the kings were reduced down to simply getting welfare checks from the
Government.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's come to the
Congress
point here
party.
now. That we have discussed the history, so
Okay, so, well, the essential point is we need to create a lineage of time, a timeline. And I think we have people ready to do it, devotees on this site, ready to do it. If not for the next session, but at least do it. I'd appreciate if you put it all in writing and double check your figures because it may be different historical records and bring it from there down to Lord Chaitanya.
all right, now
Because-
let's continue now. Okay.
Yes. So Lord Chaitanya,
There's already one such record from Lord Rama.
yeah, Lord Chaitanya destroyed religion. That's a major statement which I make. Lord, Krishna consciousness movement is not a religion. It's a practice of pure self-purification within the Vaishnav structure inside of Prabhupada's own body, namely ISKCON, that the Lord Chaitanya destroyed religion. Does that sound too radical for anyone?
He established religion. Chanting
No,
of
he
the holy name.
eliminated religion.
He
Are you
destroyed
considering that?
Hariman.
Are you considering that chanting Hare Krishna is a religion?
Well, that is the religion for Kali Yuga, right?
It's the practice for Kali Yuga, but would you call it religion?
Real definition of religion is something else, Hariman.
Okay.
That's not religion. Sanatana Dharma, right?
Okay.
We need to use Lord Chaitanya's and particularly Prabhupada's definition of what Lord Chaitanya's movement was.
Okay.
Religion, I do not think he ever said religion.
Okay, let me do some research. Continue, Narayan Prabhu. See if Prabhupada is written somewhere. It's religion or what Prabhupada says.
Because religion is a process. Hinduism is a religion. Christianity is a religion. You do all of these things, and then in the end, you get salvation, right?
And religions,
The purpose of religion is to award salvation at the end of your practice if you're a good Christian, Catholic, Jew, Hindu, whatever. That's what you're supposed to get at the end. But here we have an astonishing situation where we are broke up on the stores of love of God. Means the holy name of Krishna, the Maha Mantra, comes out as a Shakti Avatar, and that if you hear it, you're going back to Godhead, even if you hear it just once. So if you hear the holy name of Krishna just once, and you're going back to Godhead, then what does religion have to offer? This is where I think we need to take a deep gulp of air and realize that the whole Krishna consciousness movement, Prabhupada allowed it to develop on the notion of it being like a religion, but it was never a religion. It never was supposed to be a religion and never will be a religion. It gives you the end result before you join the movement.
Prabhupada did say something like philosophy without religion is one thing. And
mental speculation, yes.
Mental speculation. And
religion without philosophy is
religion without philosophy is
sentimental. Yes.
I agree. So he didn't want to trample on the toes of the burnt remnants of religious tradition in his Jewish and Christian, largely Jewish and Christian, and then finally Catholic disciples. He didn't need to.
Yeah.
They're already saved. They heard the holy. Anybody who heard the Hare Krishna mantra before they moved into a temple is already saved. This is the wild thing we have to offer as the League for 10K, because the preaching through the golden age of Kali will be based on everyone being awarded the end result of religious practice before they even take it up as a practice. It was before they become Kanistha Adhikaris, they're already saved. But they may have to go through such terrible experiences unless they join a Kanistha Adhikari group. So we have to put the Kanistha Adhikaris into perspective, which is, it is your platform of salvation. It is a salvational platform because it is, if you can imagine, if everybody is standing on planet Earth the way we all were as hippies when I was in the 60s, we're standing on planet Earth with our ideas. We're practicing Zen, we're practicing Buddhism, we're practicing Tibetan Buddhism, we're practicing so many things. But our feet are on the ground, we're eating unoffered food, we are in non-vegetarian food, we're living this whole life, which Prabhupada said, smoking ganja, that whoever is smoking pot will become a cockroach in his next life. That was our life. That was our prospect That was our destiny before Prabhupada. We can argue with this devotee, that devotee, this guy became he's a guru, that guy. Let's just take the bigger picture. Everybody in ISKCON, so-called guru or not, they're following all the principles, worshiping the deity, etc. They're floating, even if they look like hippies, if they follow everything, they're floating above the cockroach destiny. In other words, it's a low plane. It's like supposing it's like a field, and if you go to the side of the field, you see that side of the field is 4 feet above the ground. So the Kanistha platform is floating above the ground. Okay, does that make sense to anyone?
Yes.
So in that Kanistha platform, it doesn't matter how many births you take on Kanistha. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you make. Non-elected GVC, Kanistha Diksha gurus. That simply slows the process down. It doesn't eliminate the platform. If they eliminated the 4 regulative principles, eliminated prasadam, eliminated vegetarian, eliminated deity worship, then the thing crashes to the ground. But as long as it follows Prabhupada's basic formula, it floats. I say 4 feet off the ground and maybe 2 millimeters off the ground. It doesn't matter. The main thing is it's Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi means Brahman. Brahman means I am God. And Achidda Veda Veda Tattva means simultaneously one and different than God. So I am God, but by distinction in infinitesimal form. That creates the Kanistha platform. The next level, Madhyamadikari, is Vishnu level. And the final level, Uttama Adhikari, is the Bhagavan, the Krishna level, the Krishna Loka level. So we go from what we call Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. And Bhagavan is the end result of the Kanistha, of the Madhyamadikari process. But you don't have to become a Madhyamadikari, and you don't have to become a Uttama Adhikari. You will, eventually. But if you don't want to be, if you're really having a good time eating, sleeping, mating, defending in increasingly nice bodies as a Kanistha Adhikari, go for it. You're not going to become an animal. You're going to continue to make spiritual advancements. You may have a bogus guru. You may have unelected GBC. You're going to keep on making advancements. But if you want to make rapid advancement, then realize that until you become an Uttama Adhikari, you're not going to be situated where you think you want to be, which is in Krishna Loka. Like so many devotees that have been with us, and probably many of us on this site would like to die and go to heaven, meaning we like to die and go to Krishna Loka. But it doesn't work like that. You have to develop a rasta with Krishna before you can enter Krishna Loka. That is done through the Madhyamadikari. But Prabhupada didn't emphasize it because why should he? It would come up eventually, and it has come up now in the League for 10K. We are emphasizing Kanistha, Madhyam, and Uttamadhikari as the progressive values of life. And in the course of that, we're unfolding the holy name of Krishna without any diksha involved, without any religion involved. We're unfolding the Hare Krishna mantra so that every jiva can hear it. I mean, when we go out on Sankirtan party, in the rare occasions that actually takes place, when we go out on the Sankirtan parties these days, year 2021, we thinking, oh, this devotee got it, this devotee bought a book, this devotee bought it back to Godhead, this devotee bought some incense, this devotee made a contribution, and not devotee, this karmi made a contribution, this karmi bought a book, this karmi did this. We are thinking like that. What we don't realize is that by the chanting, all the jivas around, the insects and the animals and the pets and the worms and the grass and the trees, they're all also exposed to the Hare Krishna mantra vibration, so they will also go back to Godhead. Hearing just once. One person going out chanting Hare Krishna with a mridanga, kartals, or without anything, walking through a park, millions and millions of jivas will go back to Godhead, even if he couldn't care, doesn't care, give a rodent's posterior for those grass and the trees. He's only thinking of himself and how will I go back to Godhead. But it doesn't matter, because no matter how selfish he is in wanting to go back to Godhead and to hell with the trees and the grass, they're hearing him chant. So he's fulfilling the mission of Radharani, Srimati Radharani, who wants all the jivas to chant, because that's what they do in Krishna Loka in relation to Krishna, that she arranges through Rupa Manjari, through Lalita and Vishaka. That all goes up to Krishna, and that is Radharani's task that she does. And Lord Chaitanya wanted to understand it, so he came down as Radharani, in the color of Radharani, golden, and created what we're in now, the golden, Radharani golden age of Kali, another 9,400 years or so. Anyhow, that's enough rant from me. So do we see what our task is? Now, did you find, Ramachandra, did you find the word religion connected to Krishna consciousness?
Not at all. So that's what my point. Krishna said it specifically that these religions are never made. It's Sanatan Dharma, right? I guess Prabhupada has said this. The religions are made by us for our people, right? For making politics for our sect, right? This is what I know. Yeah.
Mahit, that is a brilliant observation. Thank you. Yes, we are not a religion. We're Sanat Dharma.
Okay, so here it is. Srila Prabhupada comments here. He talks about this point. Rupa Manjari is the best reader, so she can read. Huh, Rupa Manjari? Is that all right?
Sure.
Haribol, Jai, Bataji, go ahead.
Okay, so I have to convert from
I'll
this
read it.
servitorship to Krishna servitorship. Therefore, Krishna said,
Wait, could you start that again? I'm trying to find the.
okay,
the
so
page.
I have to convert from this servitorship to Krishna servitorship. Therefore,
What is
Krishna
this
said,
What is this conservatorship?
we have to go above.
We have to go above, okay.
Haribol, Jai.
It'll be a lot of reading, so let's just stick to the.
Well, we want to know from what do we have to go? That's the whole topic we're on.
He's saying, instead of becoming servant of Krishna, I become servant of so many things. I become servant of my family, servant of my country, society, humanity, cats, dogs, so many things. Servant I remain, but I become servant of so many things. So I have to convert from this servitorship to Krishna's servitorship. Therefore, Krishna said, Dharma samstapana. This is Dharma samstapana. What Dharma, what kind of religion Krishna established? He said that I incarnate to establish religion. He never came to establish Hindu religion or Christian religion or Mohammedan religion or Buddha religion. He established real religion. What is that real religion? Sarva dharman parichaja. You give up all these nonsense so-called religion and faith. You simply surrender unto me. That is religion. That is real religion. Any other religion which does not teach how to surrender unto God, that is pretension. That is not religion. According to Vedic understanding, this is religion. This is natural function.
Okay, that's
Right.
wonderful.
So he uses the word religion, term religion, but he uses it in comparison to what he considers to be the anti or non-religions like Buddhism and Christianity and Islam and whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
So I would say that his use of the word religion is not a operable term for us because we deal with it for what it is, Sanatana Dharma, right?
Not for us material people, right? We take religion as something else, right? Our meaning is different from what Prabhupada is saying, right?
If we
Yeah.
say Krishna consciousness is a religion, then we immediately click into Catholic, Protestant, Jewish,
Yeah.
Muslim, Hindu.
Point blank from target, Haribol. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And Hindu turned into religion, which Hindu was never religion in the Vedic times. But after the
Exactly.
Muslims forced that term, that ugly, disgraceful term Hindu onto the Sanatana Dharma, and then Prabhupada referred to what they call Hindu, that's actually Sanatana Dharma. This was an integral part of the Vedic culture, but it was split off because the Muslims and then the British wanted the Indians to be separated from their kings and not be a holistic part.
Haribol, they wanted to divide and rule, right? That's why they made these things. And then how
Say that again?
Pakistan was made.
What did you
They wanted
say?
to divide and rule. Bro, they wanted to divide and rule. That's why these religions are
Exactly.
made, right? Exactly.
Yeah, that is specifically the overt statement of the British. Divide and rule, divide and conquer. I learned it as you did, divide and rule.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You divide people up, and then you take all these people and say you're like a bunch of children. You don't know how to manage yourselves. I will manage all of you. Now pay me. Give me your taxes.
Yeah.
So is that satisfactory, Ramachandra?
Yes. So Lao,
Prabhupada uses the
Very
term religion, but I think we should try to avoid it because he didn't use it
Yeah.
to define the Krishna consciousness movement. But he was just
Ramachandra.
yes.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, Narayan, bro. Bro, I
No,
have
go
an
ahead,
issue
go
today.
Okay, you have a question? Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry in advance to Rupamanjari Mataji that it would take a long time. She's the boss lady here, but yeah, it would take time. I need to talk about free will and destiny today. So it would take time whenever you guys have your questions cleared and whatever is done. I need to talk about free will and destiny specifically. Yeah.
that's
So
wonderful.
Free
Yeah.
will and destiny.
yeah,
Sounds good.
yeah,
Let's go for it.
yeah. Let's go for it. Yeah, because I need to understand. I've been reading from morning. Yeah, after the Mangala
But
Aarti.
of course, we know that free will and destiny are the two qualities of the jiva.
Yeah.
If you're thinking of yourself as your body, you can do that, but it gets a little foggier. But anyhow, you asked Rupa Manjari, right?
No, I'm not asked her. I was just scared that the meeting would go long and her sleep
That you
would
wouldn't
get
be able to
affected.
ask the question. Okay.
No.
Ramachandra, do you want to answer the question? Free will and
It's
destiny.
a question to everyone, right? I want to have a perspective of every devotee been here. Yeah.
So, first question to you is, what have you understood about free will?
What I have understood it, I can give you an example, right? For example, we're going in a flight, bro, right?
Hmm.
We meet several people. Those people which you sit belong with them are fixed, right? For example, you're sitting with the Bill Gates guy, right?
Hmm.
Now, what you do there, it's up to you. Either you're fighting for a seat, I have to change a seat, I don't want to change a seat, the seat is bad, or you can take a chance to make something or crack a deal, right? This is what I'm telling about the material thing, right? So these things are there. So you are like a horse, right? He can just run in one room towards a stretch. That free will Krishna has given, you have to go till that stretch only. You can't go without that stretch. So that free will Krishna gives, whatever you do in that stretch. So at one stretch, Krishna gives you free will. Outside that, you can't do anything without his sanction. So that's what I have understood. That's a brief. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think, Ramachandra?
I think that's a good understanding of free will. There's limited free will that, I mean, like Prabhupada says, either you serve Krishna or you serve Maya. So that's the two options you have.
So that's a free will given to us, right? This is what you want
Yeah.
to say? Yeah.
Yes.
Rupa Manjari, do you have a view?
Well, my understanding is that it's a combination of both. There's destiny and then there's also free will within that destiny.
And what determines
What
destiny?
stage is it? At what stage is it? That's
When
the
you
main
say
question.
destiny, do you mean
What's the main
a
question?
soul? Destiny is the jiva or destiny in the body?
Destiny of the jiva.
Destiny of the jiva. That's what.
Does the jiva have a destiny?
I guess
I
yes.
agree.
Yes. Sir.
Yes,
I agree. Yes, of course. Before you're born and brought up, all your karmas are accumulated, and according to that, you get it. Yeah.
But that's not the jiva, that's your subtle body,
Yes.
your mental,
Yeah, that's
your
subtle body that carries you to the present body. Yes. The subtle
Okay.
body is carrying you to the yes.
Well, Prabhupada says that not even a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Lord.
Hare
Well,
Krishna.
yes.
Okay.
Hari-
Hari
remember
Bol, Jai.
Hare
The
Bol.
will of the Supreme Lord is being expressed by Paramatma inside the heart of the jiva, inside the blade of grass.
My
Right.
question is, Prabhu, what extent that Krishna gives it to us? Is that extent can it be more than that extent for seva, bhakti of material things?
I think if you look at it algorithmically or mathematically, it is a very simple distinction.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go ahead.
destiny has nothing to do with the jiva.
Okay.
Nothing to do with the soul. Why? Because the soul could be a king, the soul can be a beggar, the soul can be a demigod, the soul can be an insect, the soul could be a maggot eating dead flesh, the soul can be a horse, right? You can take any birth. So what we're talking about is desire on the part of the jiva and destiny.
But
Free
Haribol,
will
those
is the-
souls, sorry to
The,
interrupt.
the jiva,
But-
the jiva, oh, go ahead.
But those
Yeah.
souls, Prabhu, those soul which you're saying, right? That's carrying karma, right? So that's predestined.
Not always. Prabhupada's soul didn't carry karma.
Prabhupada is a exalted pure devotee. He's come from some other
Krishna
planet. His
Loka.
astrological is different from us, right? Someone showed his
Well,
astrological charts and
okay.
he was like, he couldn't read it, right? That's
So you're talking
Well,
about the conditioned soul, the
yeah,
soul
yeah.
that is trapped in repeated birth and death.
Yeah,
Is that it? Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah,
now,
exactly. Yeah.
the soul by its nature is not subject to birth and death. The soul is part and parcel of Krishna, right? Just
Yeah,
as
yeah,
pure as Krishna is, but in an infinitesimal form. Now, the minute that the soul acting independently of Krishna Loka, Krishna, Radharani, Rupa Manjari, Vishaka, and Lalita, and the cowherd boys and the gopis, once the soul decides to act independently of that wonderful experience of being in Krishna Loka, once he wants to act separately, then he has desire. That desire that the soul has gives him a body. It can't give him a spiritual form, but it gives him a material body, whatever material body he's attracted to. So he becomes a human being, an ant, a tree, whatever is what he's impelled to do. Now that's the choice, free will of the soul, right? Because the soul can choose anything. The soul can and will, because of Krishna consciousness, choose to reunite with Krishna in a rasa with Krishna that is reciprocal with Krishna. That is the destiny of all of us when we start giving up our material confusion. Now, they're talking now about destiny. Destiny means something that you cannot control, correct?
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so destiny for the conditioned soul is different than there is no destiny for the pure devotee. Everything the pure devotee does is by his own free will under the guidance, instruction, and direction of Lord Krishna, right? Like Prabhupada.
Correct.
He is,
correct, yeah.
he's being, every word he utters is meant for the benefit of others, not others' bodies, but other jivas, how to give up that maniacal attachment to the bodies that they're in. Not so easy, right? For all these years, people still see themselves as their body, even though they've been at ISKCON for 50 years, you know? Now, destiny, this is easy to understand. Destiny is very easy to understand. The way to understand your destiny, like why were you born in India? That was your destiny. Why were you born to be a male? That was your destiny. Why were you fed this or that? Why was your parents nice or not nice? Why was this or that going on? That was your destiny. So what determines your destiny is very simple. Because your destiny does not apply to the soul. Destiny applies to the body. And of course, if you have a body, the soul, you are already in that body. So it's easy to try to combine the two, emulsify them, but they don't emulsify. You can't make mayonnaise out of the soul, and you take vinegar and oil and emulsify it, and it turns into mayonnaise. You can't do that with the body. You never mix with the body. The jiva is always separate from the body. So what is destiny? Simply put, it is the exact planets under which you were conceived and under which you were born. In other words, your destiny is revealed in your astrological chart.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with the soul.
Okay.
Zero. It has to do with your body. I mean, you were born in a male body. That was your destiny because of previous. Okay, how do you get the destiny to be guided by planets? It is what you did in your previous life. Correction,
Exactly.
your previous lives. It could be 1,000 previous lives bearing down algorithmically onto a focal point of your conception specifically, Mohit, your specific conception in this lifetime. The birth you took in your mother's womb from your father's power of, the jiva comes from your father into the egg of your mother, and you develop from there. Your destiny is being conducted from that point onward.
So,
Narayan.
just one question there. So indirectly, you want to say my parents, my friends, my life partner, all are fixed in life.
I'm sorry?
But the work I do is
They all chose, but they did not choose freely. They didn't say, do I want to be a demigod or do I want to be Mohit? No, you are stuck within a certain handcuffs, a certain prism. It's like if you're in one car on the freeway, you cannot be in another car on the freeway. You're in the car you're in, but once you're in that car, you can do so many things with free will, right? Turn left, turn right, put on the brakes, whatever. You can do so many things.
How I behave with them is up to me, but yeah, these all are fixed.
Your karma determines if you're in a Rolls Royce, Mercedes, or a
Audi.
Audi, or a what you call it,
Audi, BMW, whatever, Range Rover.
Yeah, or a Fiat taxi, or what's the other one?
A Model T.
Gasita. Gasita.
Can we do a Model T?
A bullock cart. I accidentally muted Narayan Prabhu.
Good. Keep him muted.
No chance.
No chance. I think destiny is. I think
So
destiny
anyhow,
is
just
from
to
the spirit.
clarify, when you are born under the influence of all the planets in the solar system, Mars, Jupiter, Venus, whatever, right? Sun, moon, that bears down on your moment of birth. And when you are born, you have a package of karma that you need to live through, of all the good you have done, expressed through the good things that will happen to you in this birth, all the bad things you have done, which are expressed through all the mishaps that occur in this birth. So that is destiny. Destiny really means you're paying the price of your previous life's activities, and both good and bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Prabhu, on this. My parents, my friends, my relationships, or my future wife is all fixed, right? This is what you want to say? Just a yes or no. Then I explanation. This what I
Well, within a range. I
Okay.
mean, if you're a man, you're going to marry, nowadays, who knows, but if you're a man, you're going to marry a woman.
Who
those
knows?
specific conditions souls. I'll get birth from that specific condition
that
souls,
used to be
right?
commonly understood.
What's the question again?
So the question is like I'll get birth from the specific condition souls, right? So my parents are already fixed, right? Due to my past karmas, parents,
Yes.
this country I
Yes.
will get born is fixed. My friends, my life partner, my
No,
children.
that is not fixed. That is not. Prabhupada is saying here. Mohit, you read here what Prabhupada
Yeah,
is saying.
yeah.
Go ahead, read.
Read. Yeah,
Oh, Mohit, Prabhu, you
Prabhu,
read.
read.
Mohit.
yeah, bro. Prabhupada, free choice. What is preordinated or ordinary?
Preordained.
Preordained, sorry. You are here for your free choice. If you like, you can sit down, you can talk to me. You don't like, then you can go. That's your free choice. But free choice makes destiny. If I act in godliness, then my future is good. And I act badly, my future is bad. That is destiny. Man is an architect of his own destiny. If you're
Yes.
educated, your future is nice. If you remain foolish, then your future is bad. So, future destiny depends on your present action. Life is an opportunity to make the next life and behave in human beings, and that is our next life will go to back to God. Go back to God. Yeah.
Yes.
That's it. We have to
So
be
that's-
good.
True that I
Well,
got to know.
you
We have
don't,
to
you
be
don't,
good
We
and
have to
all.
be good.
That's the whole point about free will. Free will creates destiny. You don't have to be good. Look at all the people that are not good. You don't have to
So
be.
one more
That's-
question on
that
this.
is your free will as a jiva to be
If we
good or
fully
not good. But you cannot say, I'm going to become a cat. I'm going to become a turkey, or I'm going to become an eagle. You can't choose that in this lifetime.
But the jiva is always good.
The jiva by nature is transcendentally good, but when the jiva casts his fate with a material body, he ceases to be inherently good.
It's
No,
the
he's
mind.
inherently good, but in that body, when a jiva is attracted to becoming a certain body, like you became Mahaprabhu, when you became that body, your choice was over. You didn't get a second or third choice.
Yeah, but it's the mind and the body. It's the mind through the body that makes us bad. The jiva is always good.
The jiva is by nature good, but if the jiva desires bad, then the jiva is awarded bad.
It's
The
the
jiva
way.
is
it's the-
marginal. The jiva
it's
can. The jiva by nature is good because the jiva is part and parcel of Krishna, but the jiva can actually desire to do bad things.
We all understand that the body is the body. It's a piece of materialistic stuff. It's born, it's young, it gets old, it gets ugly, it gets beautiful, it's fat, it's skinny.
It grows a beard.
It grows a beard. The body is the body. As I understand it, the mind is all the experiences that we have gone through, what we have learned, what we have read,
those
what we have been
experiences,
told.
And that
That's the
determines
mind.
experiences
your
are predetermined,
mind
right?
determines your next body.
I think it's the jiva that determines everything that we do.
Your actions. Remember, we're talking about actions. Actions.
Actions are
actions are
mind and
okay.
body.
But I have previous
the
actions
body-
also going on, no? Previous lives.
Hare Krishna.
Very well,
Mahaprabhu, don't you think that your body dictates to you what to do a great deal of the time?
I think it's my mind that dictates my body what to do. My body is just my
Really?
body. It's
So
just a
if your
piece
mind
of
chooses to
material.
never eat again, that body will be fine with that.
Say it again.
If your mind chooses to never eat food again, your body will be okay with that because you're in charge as the mind, and the body has nothing to say about whether you eat or not.
Good question. Good question. Very well.
My
Tricky
body
question.
would die if my mind decided not to eat. My body would die.
But will your body object to dying, or would your body rather eat?
I don't think the body has the ability to object or not object. It's just a material piece of material. It doesn't
but the
think.
mind
It's-
in the body understands the needs of the body, and therefore listens to whether or not the ball bearings need a drop of oil or not, and then tells the jiva to arrange for the oil to put on the ball bearings.
I agree with you. The mind dictates the body, and the jiva, if we tap into it, will keep us on track.
Well, the jiva is the jiva permits the mind.
Am I not making sense? I'm not making sense.
No,
You're tapping into the outer space right now.
you are making sense, but you're going about it in a somewhat extra complicated way.
I guess there always has to be one rebel in the group.
Why? No, don't forget that. Why does your body want to eat human food and not dog food?
Because my mind is telling my body not to eat dog food and to eat human food.
But if you didn't know what was dog food and what's human food, you would have been eating dog food, right?
Well, we're taught at an early age what to eat and what not to eat. That's the mind.
So, how did you get that knowledge? Is that predestined or that's free will?
I think it's a combination of the two. It can't be one or the other. It has to be both.
Both what?
Both yin and yang.
Yin and yang is Radha and Krishna.
Mahaprabhu, you're shooting into outer space. You gotta stick to one train of logic and get one answer first, not to the yin and yang and then to the jiva and to the mind and to the body. You know, you gotta.
I love your laugh, Rupa.
The thing to understand to answer to work with Mohit's idea is that whatever good karma you have is under the control of the planets under which you're born. And
I'm from Mars.
Whatever planet, all of them.
Mars for me.
Mars for me is the house of speech, as you might guess by the way I talk. And Saturn also, which you might tell by the way I talk. Otherwise, I'm a Virgo, which is very quiet and peaceful.
Okay, let's answer some questions now. Where are we going?
Just one last question, bro. So indirectly, not a question. So indirectly, if we are surrendering 40% to Krishna, for Krishna will take charge of all our karmas, right? If you are charging 100% of devotion or surrenderance to Krishna, he will take everything in his hands. That's the
No,
only.
no. You have to renounce karma before you can surrender to Krishna.
Sorry, please repeat it again, Prabhu. Haribol? Yeah.
It's not, Krishna's not Jesus. Go take your sins and enjoy them, if supposedly. No, Krishna doesn't take your karma. You chant Hare Krishna and dissolve and destroy your karma.
Okay.
You become pure, karma-free by no longer generating karma. A great deal of that is the Kanistha Adhikari platform. The Kanistha Adhikari platform is designed to gradually rid yourself of karma. At the time of death, if you haven't rid yourself completely of karma, you'll take another birth as a Kanistha Adhikari, and another, and another, and another.
This is what happens with big
Magically,
businessmen.
Krishna is going to take away your karma. You have to get rid of your karma by chanting Hare Krishna.
Or you can give it to the ISKCON guru.
In which case, he'll have to die horribly because of the things you did. If you did horrible things and you take initiation from an ISKCON guru, he will have to suffer for the horrible things you did. Which is not a bad, which is
As we all
better.
Love you,
That's
man.
the good part. That's the good part. The bad part is you have to go there where he is in his next birth and help him experience the bad things that you gave him. Interesting. But in any event, in terms of, in terms of destiny, destiny really means the influence of your planets. If you have, some planets will give you wealth, some planets will give you poverty, some planets will give you wisdom, some planets will give you ignorance. It all depends on your previous birth. That's
destiny is from the
lifetime
jiva.
now. Obviously, everybody on the Zoom call has had a reasonably good previous birth, or we wouldn't be on the Zoom call because we wouldn't be able to comprehend it.
Hare Krishna.
So we are. Okay, and in terms of the jiva is independent of karma. The jiva is independent of the body.
The jiva is independent of everything.
By nature, but not necessarily by desire. Was the jiva, in your case, was the jiva independent of everything when you asked your wife to marry you?
I believe yes.
So why did you ask her to marry you? Didn't you want to ask her to marry you?
To fulfill a jiva, to fulfill for the jiva.
No.
What did the jiva get out of it, I might ask?
A union.
Between what and what?
Jiva and jiva.
Deep. Jivas are all individual. Prabhupada said, where each one of us, jiva, is flying our own airplane. Each of us has each jiva has his own airplane. He can never associate or bond with someone in another airplane. If he does, it'll crash.
But we're all in the same sky. So what's the sky? Paramatma?
What sky?
We're all flying in the same sky.
We are? That's the first I ever heard of it.
You mean we all have material bodies, but we are spirit souls? Is that what you're saying?
Right. That's right. Good. Thank you for
Well,
clarifying.
the spirit soul, the jiva is more like a pile of lead than it is like a sky.
The jiva is the spirit, or not?
The jiva is part and parcel of Krishna, and that's who you are.
The light.
Aham Brahmasmi means I am spirit soul. I am, not that I have, not that we have. There's no statement in the Shastra saying we have spirit soul. It's all like I have spirit soul, independent. As an independent spirit soul, you have the freedom and the freedom of power of will to make friends with another jiva.
So we're all part of the same electrical cord.
Part and parcel of God.
We're not part of anything. We're individual.
Individual part and parcel of God. Yes.
We are the electricity.
No, we are electrified. Krishna is the electricity. We are electrified. We're like the light bulb.
Our light bulbs are on.
Not all.
If you're in this
You should
Zoom
say
meeting,
accurately,
you are on, right?
I am a light bulb and I am on
Amen.
eternally.
Amen. Haribol.
Haribol. Jai.
Jai.
So anyhow, to get back to Mohit, I don't know if it's been clear enough.
No, people got more confused.
Everybody that is practically everyone in India, before they get married, before they do business, they do astrological charts of everyone concerned, right? Why? You do the astrological chart so that and Mahaprabhu tried to let me finish the explanation because you have an interesting way of making it more complicated. Just listen and try to understand what I'm saying, okay? So when you're born under the influence of a certain planet, so is the person you're going to marry. You do a chart of that person and yourself and see if the outcome will be compatible or not. Most people, well, nowadays people do charts to get married, but historically people seldom did unless they were in India or belonged to some mystical order somewhere or other.
So where did I go wrong?
By saying something when I was in the middle of explaining something just now.
I'm sorry, Prabhu.
Yeah, just listen. It'll help. Okay, so the jiva is a eternal part and parcel of Krishna. The embodied jiva has a body, which is determined by karma, which is determined and controlled by planets. The astrology sidereal astrology can help you understand what those planets are and how they influence you, and they can give you a clear idea. Now you might say, well, I want to be a king. But then you go to your chart and find out you have the karma to be a shoemaker, not a king. But I want to be a king. Well, it's not going to happen. So you become an irrational person, not a king. I'm a king. I'm a king. No, you're not. No, you're not. You have to go with what you actually can do, and that you can determine by your astrological chart. I mean, your parents can probably guide you also because they're related to you karmically. But the real connection is through the astrological chart. That's for your destiny. In terms of free will, that is based on what within your karma you can choose.
Within your karma, you can choose. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to go become a devotee, you can choose to transcend your karma.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't have to live by your karma.
Jai.
You can transcend it. So I want to renounce my karma and pick up Sanatan Dharma. I want to pick up pure devotional service for myself. That is the process of renunciation. Renunciation. What do you renounce when you renounce? You renounce your destiny. And in practically every case, it's a damn good idea that you do it. A very good idea that you renounce your destiny. Why? Because if you choose your destiny, supposedly, Prabhupada described that when you become a devotee, initiated, your karma, which is your destiny in terms of planetary everything, is like a fan whirring, like a stand-up fan, and it's whirling around. When you pull the plug out of the wall, the fan is still turning, but it's going slower. You may not notice that it's going slower, but after 15 minutes, it may be very much slower. After an hour, it may have completely stopped. That is what happens when we become devotees. We are pulling out the fan of our destiny from our planets. and we and the karmic fan stops. Okay, so that's what we do as devotees, is we give up our karma. Now, interestingly, supposing that you look at your chart and it says you're going to be very badly injured at the age of 24 in a severe automobile accident. I've met people that were like that. They had that chart done. But when they were 24, they got into a situation where they simply broke their leg. And they're saying, why? I'm a devotee. Why should I break my
Power
leg?
of chanting.
You said,
Krishna has
what?
given you that's like Krishna has reduced your karma, right?
Yeah, minimalized. Yeah,
Minimalized.
made it
Minimalized.
smaller. The man says, what? I'm a devotee. Why did I break my leg? That doesn't seem right. I chant all my rounds. I follow regular principles. Well, look at your chart. We don't do that, but I mean, you can, There's nothing wrong with looking at your chart, but you don't need to. Prabhupada never asked us to do that or encouraged us to do that. So then you look at your chart and said, you are going to be a quadriplegic and that your head was the only thing that could function and you had to be fed with tubes and you broke your leg and you're complaining. Why are you complaining? Well,
Karma.
because I don't want a broken leg. Well, would you rather have been a quadriplegic? No. Then count your blessings. Krishna spared you.
Yeah,
karma,
exactly.
because you became purified enough. I mean, if you're going to be a quadriplegic, something that you did to somebody else or a group of people was horrible.
Yeah.
You did it. Now, maybe you're a very nice guy in this lifetime.
Yeah.
But what were you like in the previous life? In a previous life? It doesn't have to be immediately previous. It could be dozens or hundreds of years ago, lifetimes ago.
Yeah.
What did you do to deserve becoming turned into a paraplegic? If you saw, you could say, "Oh, now I understand. It makes sense."
Aren't we opening a can of worms right now talking about this? Because when you say that, you can pull anything out of the air. You can say that, for example, this is a very bad example, that the children who were molested, who are devotees, that was their karma, and they had to go through this. So how do we know?
Karma?
Huh?
It was their karma, and they did have to go through it.
Yeah.
Just like I had karma, I was not a vegetarian. My
But
karma
Haribol,
would have been
chanting.
horrible.
No.
When
I'm
Prabhupada
talking about
initiated,
the children. I'm talking about the Krishna consciousness children.
Yeah,
it's
it
the
was
same
in their
thing.
karma, Haribol.
Yes. But the teachers could have been as kind as Prabhupada.
Yeah. And that
They didn't
chanting
have to
helped, right,
give the
bro?
children
That would be a big
karma.
accident, yeah.
That's their justification. They argue that actually. Oh, it's not our fault because that was the karma of those children. That may be true, or it may not be true. It may be that they created karma by harming the children, or it could have been the karma of the children to be harmed. But that doesn't change the fact that the Brahmin will not cause harm to anybody. Even if he's a horrible person, the Brahmin will not cause harm. So even if those children deserved to be harmed, the Brahmin will not harm them. And the teachers were supposed to be Brahmins. Does that explain to you, Ramachandra?
Okay, yes, that makes more sense. Okay.
I guess,
Yeah.
bro, when we chant, that reduces our karma. Krishna just helps you, right? A big accident was written and
Exactly.
you get cut on your feet or on your knee, right? That's what Krishna
Exactly.
consciousness can do. Yeah, that's the point.
Insofar as you chant purely, the more purely you chant, the more karma is dissolved.
Yeah,
If you chant
exactly.
rather
Quality
badly,
chanting. Quality
if you chant
chanting. Yeah.
crudely or inattentively or stupidly or wrong pronunciation, you will reduce your karma, but by a certain amount. If you chant purely, you will reduce your karma by a great deal.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Haribol. Yeah, Haribol. Jai.
Yes. So the whole point of
you're
chanting
muted,
is
Haribol.
to eliminate our karma. That's what we chant for. That's why we chant, is to eliminate karma. Will chanting save us, like give us salvation? No, because by chanting, hearing, before we chant, by hearing the Hare Krishna mantra, we're already saved. I've made that mention, and I don't mean to say that to take away from reducing karma by chanting. You're already saved, but you have a lot of stuff you have to go through. And chanting purifies your consciousness so that the more you chant, the fewer things you'll have to go through, meaning that as Kanistha-adhikari, you can become closer and closer to Madhyama-adhikari by chanting purely.
Yeah.
By the time you're Madhyama-adhikari, you basically have to be chanting quite purely. Because if you're not chanting purely, how can you approach Krishna in Krishna Loka?
Yeah.
Right?
Correct. Point blank on target, Haribol.
Yeah. It can sound very complicated if you approach it in a complicated way. Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is simple for the simple and difficult for the complicated, I think is what he said.
Yeah.
Why? Because it is our nature. How are we
mental
doing?
speculation. Yeah.
Yes. So mental speculation has no place. And where is mental speculation? Unelected GBC is mental speculation. Kanistha-adhikari gurus, that's mental speculation. But because a whole group agrees amongst themselves,
We can't agree. We don't have to
gurus,
agree.
disciples, and GBC, they all sit down together saying, well, this is the way it is. Then at the end of the meeting, people say, this is the way it is. But that doesn't make it true. What do you got there,
Prabhupada says, and you keep to Krishna consciousness, then your life is sublime. Very simple thing. But it is simple for the simple, but it is very hard for the crooked.
Yes.
So Jai. So yes, you were mentioning about you were mentioning
why after so many years or so many ISKCON members still completely and utterly invested in being Kanistha-adhikaris? Well, they're crooked.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Quality
Does that
chanting,
mean
they're
that
not doing it
if
right.
you're crooked, does that disqualify you? No, of course not. If you hear the holy name of Krishna once, you're never going to be disqualified ever. But if you want to go back to Godhead, you jolly well better clear your karma up. And that's by chanting sincerely, simply, and accepting it simply. Yes.
Sorry, well, when we are crooked, Prabhu, our chanting can't happen. If our hearts are not pure, quality chanting can't happen at all. You need to leave your crooked
It
mind.
depends how crooked you're saying. You can be a bit crooked in chant.
Okay.
If you were not a bit crooked, you'd be a pure devotee when you chant.
Jai. Yeah.
Anything that stops you from being a pure devotee, like a Madhyama-adhikari, anything stopping you from perfection, spiritual perfection, is you being crooked, right? Me being crooked.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah.
So let's not disqualify ourselves 100%.
Okay.
Just 99.999%.
Haribol, Jai.
I think so. We got about 15 minutes. So I just want to play this Prabhupada conversation. It's probably like 5 or 10 minutes. It's
Go right
very,
ahead.
this is very nice.
But before you do that, can
Yes.
you ask, and this is your job, you're the chairman of the board, can you ask, are the members of this conversation satisfied?
They'll never be satisfied.
Huh? Well, ask
We'll
them.
never be satisfied,
You'll
bro.
never be satisfied. I already know. I'm asking about Mohit and anybody else on this line.
No, they will be satisfied after they hear Prabhupada in this conversation.
The body's never satisfied.
Great.
That's a good point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Let me
when we
play
say,
this.
I'm not this body, it opens the door to becoming satisfied.
Hare Krishna.
Oh yeah, that's what I needed to ask. Mahaprabhu, after I have basically shut you down because you kept on bringing up points that were distracting from the core issue, which is nothing wrong with it, but it just made it hard to get to the core issue. Is there anything that you have not yet heard that you need to hear to be satisfied from Mohit's answering Mohit's question?
But that's transcendental humor, right? That's transcendental humor of Mahaprabhu, right?
Let's not open a can of worms with Mahaprabhu. It's not the time right now.
Hare Krishna.
Why do you think he does anything but worms?
He'll open it and then we won't get through this conversation with Prabhupada. So
No, I just wanted to know if you felt any satisfaction from the explanation that, okay, Mohit, were you satisfied by the discussion?
I'm satisfied
point
today,
at
but
least.
not tomorrow, bro. I have to come back to this discussion.
Were you satisfied up to a point?
We are
I was
always
satisfied.
satisfied.
Oh, no, shut up. I'm asking Mohit. Mohit.
I was
we're
satisfied
never
at one
satisfied.
moment, yeah, but I
Mohit,
was
wondering,
satisfied.
I owed you an explanation. You asked for an explanation. Did you get anywhere in that explanation that helped you understand
No,
what you wanted
I
to
got at
explain?
one point, bro. Yeah, surely I
Because
got
push
at
it.
one point. I'm satisfied, but I won't be satisfied after this moment. I need more and more talks like this. Ever.
Okay, but so
As we all do.
tomorrow you
Yeah.
can come again, right?
Yeah, sure.
You see, Ramachandra, this is what we need to do at the end of the session, is to make sure that everyone, it's like if you have a dinner party, you ask everyone, is there anything more you'd like? Do you want more main course?
well, the dinner party might go on for a few hours, so we don't want to prolong the dinner
Want to
party.
make
No, that's
a
not
boss
the point.
lady. Boss
You're
lady
making-
get angry. Guy.
You're making
No,
you're
that
making
is-
my mouth water.
Ramachandra, that's not the point. The point is, to what degree is your question answered? That's the point, not how to go on for hours.
Right. Jai. Okay.
Okay.
So-
Are
Time
we
for a
okay?
video.
Mohit, you're the main guy. Are you okay so far?
Yeah, sure, bro. Of course, always.
Okay.
Always,
Okay,
always
then
sure.
tomorrow
Yeah.
you can
Mohit's
you
always
can
cool.
ask more pointed questions and try to keep Ramachandra from preventing you from asking, okay?
No. Let's keep Narayan Prabhu from speaking too much. How about that? No, I'm just
Me?
kidding.
Yeah.
Did I
That's
speak
a
too
very
much?
important point. Yeah, that should be done.
Did,
Yeah.
That
did
should
I
be done.
speak? Did I speak? Okay, do I apologize? Did I?
No, you don't have to
speak too much?
apologize.
Did I speak
Yeah.
too much?
Correct.
No.
Yeah.
You didn't speak too much.
Then don't say it.
We are
Or
gonna
will I-
have this.
If you say I speak too much, then I will not speak again.
And Mahaprabhu won't speak anymore.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
you can speak, but you should actually ask questions more than speak, because your angle of vision is not yet exactly on target yet, but you're getting very close. Okay, you're on target in principle. So anyhow, let's get to this reading that is so vastly important
Family of
to
Krishna,
Ramachandra.
but
Sure, bro.
in
Go
a
ahead,
different way.
Go ahead, Haribol.
It's playing. Can you hear?
Just like
No, bro.
if one
Not
is
at
in
all. Not yet.
You cannot hear?
Yeah, not yet.
Why is it not hearing?
Play it, Haribol. You have not played it. Yeah.
I played this
Play
here.
it, bro.
the
Are
prison
we
house,
reading or are we
in
listening?
government protection.
I'm playing the audio. No? Is the audio not coming?
What's up?
I can hear it.
On the screen?
You can hear it?
It was okay, bro. Start it. Yeah, go ahead.
There's
Okay.
Yamuna's on the screen. Is that the same thing?
Yes. Prabhupada is
Yeah,
speaking.
yeah, bro.
But in a different way.
When you go to Krishna Loka, when we see you there, we know that you are spiritual master. We remember you. Swamiji Janaki Devi wrote me this very nice letter where she
Please
had a
increase the
dream
volume,
that
bro, if you
there
can.
was a gigantic platform above the surface of the earth, and all of our devotees, our godbrothers and sisters, and you were assembled on this gigantic platform for Samkirtan. And we had such a thunderous, joyous, magnificent kirtan that the whole earth, when you said Jam Svara Paramhansa, the whole earth bowed down to you like this. And we were all crying and so happy, and you said, now my Guru Maharaj is satisfied. That was her dream.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you for your dreaming like that. Yes. It is very pleasing to me. Yes, I want to see like that. Like dreaming is also nice.
So the dream world is the dream world the real world?
Yes, it is reflection of real world. Reflection is real or the time being. This world is also dream. For the time being. Because this body is not permanent, so it is also a dream. A dream for 100 years or 50 years or 70 years. And that dream is 50 minutes. At night we see dreams of 50 minutes. And this dream is 50 years, that's all. It is a question of time. It is also dream. But dream is reality so long we see it and enjoy it. That is reality. Just like a man in dream is crying. It is dream, but the effect is there. Reaction is there. In that sense, dream is reality. Reality, temporary reality, flickering reality. Otherwise, it is reality. In that respect, the whole thing is a dream. Anything material that is dream, sapnava. It is just like dream. It is stated in Bible.
Krishna.
After all, we should remember that dream is pertaining to this body. So far I am concerned, spirit soul, I am reality, I am not dream at any stage. Because I am the seer. When I am sleeping, the dream, in sleeping, I am seeing. I am there. This dream, this body or that body or any other body, I am the seer. So I am eternal. And the dream is pertaining to this changing body or changing circumstances or the changing condition. That is dream. So, I being reality and eternal, I will have to find out my eternal engagement. This dream engagement is temporary. Therefore, if I am intelligent enough, then I will have to find out my eternal engagement. That eternal engagement is Krishna consciousness, and to act in Krishna consciousness. That is eternal. So we are trying to transfer our activities from dream to fact. Everything dream, either in sleeping or in awakening. Everything dream. Because it has no reality. Simply is a question of time. Therefore, our business is how to transfer ourselves from this position of dreaming to the position of reality. Therefore, we have to change the consciousness. If we change our consciousness, then consciousness will carry me to the reality. Krishna consciousness is reality. Krishna is reality. So if my consciousness continue at the time of my death, that is the critical point. The consciousness will carry me to a particular type of body next. So if my consciousness continues Krishna, then it will carry me to it. So I have to practice Krishna consciousness so that at the last moment I may not forget Krishna. Then my life is successful. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Jang jang papi smaran loke tajatanti kalevaram. At the time of death, as the man thinks of, so his next life begins. The example is given, very nice, just like air blowing. So if the air is blowing over a nice rose garden, the aroma is carried to other place. Rose aroma. And if the air is blowing from the filthy place, the aroma is carried by the air to other place. Similarly, the mental condition, consciousness is the subtle form of my existence. So, if that subtle form of existence carries aroma of Krishna, then you get next body, Krishna Level. And if your consciousness carries something else, then you get another body. Therefore, we have to practice Krishna consciousness so seriously that not even for a moment we forget Krishna. Our activities, our engagement, our thinking, our feeling, our willing, we should always think of how to propagate this Krishna consciousness movement, make plan, write books, write literature, distribute it, distribute prasadam, try to convince. Then you will have no other engagement than Krishna consciousness.
Okay, that's it.
Hare Krishna.
Right on time.
Aroma.
Superman
Bring the aroma
How
of
about
Krishna
that?
at the last. Bring the aroma of Krishna at the
And
time of death.
Mohit, Prabhu? Mohit?
Yeah, Haribo. Yeah.
Okay. If you like, you can call me privately, just on a telephone call on Messenger or something of that sort, and we can discuss that, because it wasn't easy to present the simplicity of the difference between destiny and free will in this conversation.
Sure, bro.
Jai,
Anytime.
yeah. Everyone who's
Jai.
watching online, if they want to get in contact with Narayan Prabhu, just join the
Please,
WhatsApp group and they can personally talk to Narayan Prabhu or anyone here. Any questions,
Yeah.
comments, anything like that. We very welcome that. Jai. All right. Thank you very much to all the devotees for joining. Our next session
Haribol.
on
Dandavat
Wednesday.
pranam, Narayan
Haribol,
Prabhu,
Haribol.
Dandavat pranam, Haribol. Dandavat pranam, bro.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.